We are Southeastern 16 as we continue our bold prediction series for all 16 SEC football teams. I'm Chase Robinson. Glad you are joining us here on Southeastern 16 as we're going to talk three bold predictions for the Florida Gators in 2024. This is an interesting year, interesting team Florida has. We'll dive into that in just a second, but we got to talk about BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, you can go to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, unwind with one of the over 150 slots games. Head over to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. That is promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV. Bet online, the game starts here. So the Florida Gators going into 2024. A lot of questions about this team. You look up and down the roster, there's some talent. Schedule very tough, toughest in the country. So it's an interesting year to see kind of how Florida approaches the year, how they handle this really tough schedule. Again, they do have some talent, but can you get some momentum? Can you win some games and let that build on each other? I think that's a big question. But three bold predictions when it comes to the Florida Gators in 2024. My first bold prediction has to do with quarterback Graham Mertz. And that bold prediction is Mertz throws for 3,500 yards this season. Last year, he threw for 2,903 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Now, he did have that broken collarbone towards the end of last season. But I think a bold prediction is at least 3,500 yards for Graham Mertz this fall. They've kind of rebuilt the wide receiver room, brought in guys like Eugene Wilson and Shamir Duke. Wilson's back, and then of course Khalil Jackson is back with the team, and so they're kind of rebuilding, getting some depth in the wide receiver room. So that's definitely going to help when it comes to Graham Mertz' number of yards. But 3,500 yards for Graham Mertz, I think, would be a really good year. And if he's able to do that, and Florida is able to convert that into points, then it's going to be a different story as we move through the year for Florida. But again, you're playing some really good teams. You're playing some really good defenses. And so it's going to be hard, no doubt, for Florida to get a lot of momentum, especially offensively. But it would be nice to see Graham Mertz throw for that. But bold prediction there, Graham Mertz throws for 3,500 plus yards this year for the Florida Gators. Second bold prediction on the defensive side, linebacker Shemar James leads the SEC in tackles. Now, James had 55 tackles in 8 games last season before he was injured. He's back going into his junior year. He really wants to finish where he left off there. He had a great start to the season again. Just was able to play 8 games, 55 tackles. He's going to be kind of the key, one of the anchors of this defense for Florida. And so bold prediction there. He leads the SEC in tackles. Give him a full season, especially after having to miss some last year, and he'll be wanting to go out and prove himself. I think that could be a good year for Shemar James, linebacker there for the Gators. And my third bold prediction is the Florida Gators win 7 games. Talked about this schedule. It's tough. But just looking up and down it, I mean, you start off the season with Miami. That's in Gainesville. That'll be huge. Samford, Texas A&M, first 3 at home, then trips to Mississippi State. You get UCF at home. They're on October 5th. Gus Malzahn has got that team looking really good. KJ Jefferson, their quarterback. You've got a trip to Tennessee, hosting Kentucky. The neutral site rivalry game versus Georgia start November. Trip to Texas. You got LSU and Ole Miss at home, and then a trip to Florida State. So you look at that stretch of Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. That's an unbelievable stretch there. It's hard to and especially not knowing really what this roster holds for Florida. It's hard to gauge how they're going to get through this schedule. But a bold prediction, they win 7 games. They sneak up and get some wins there. Billy Napier hasn't beaten Kentucky. I think this could be a year to do that. Getting a win at Mississippi State against A&M to start the season off against Miami would be huge. Against UCF. I mean, these are all games that they're going to need to find a way to win because the schedule is so tough. You need to win the games that you know you can. And I think this is a roster that can sneak up on some teams as well. As Billy Napier has put together a pretty good roster this year. So, winning 7 games, I think, looking at the schedule, is a bold prediction there for the Florida Gators. So my bold predictions: Graham Mertz throws for 3,500 plus yards. Linebacker Shemar James leads the SEC in tackles, and the Gators win 7 games. Those are my bold predictions for the Florida Gators heading into 2024, heading into Billy Napier's 3rd year as the head coach there for the Florida Gators. We will have you covered on all things Florida Gators football this fall, as well as the rest of the SEC. So you can subscribe to our channel here at Southeastern 16 as we provide daily content for you for SEC football. Not only football, though, we also bring you content for basketball and baseball year-round. We have weekly shows that we do here on the channel, as well as all the videos we've put out. We've done team previews on every football team. We've done schedule previews for all 16 SEC teams. So you can check those out on our channel right now as well. Spread the word. Share it with your friends after you subscribe to our channel. Like this video and let us know what you think about Southeastern 16. Also, if you'd like to sponsor our content, you can do that by sending me an email, chase@southeastern14.com. We can begin those conversations, as well as caroline.smith at southeastern14.com. So we've got you covered, all things SEC football, basketball, and baseball year-round. Subscribe, and we'll be back with more of bold predictions for all 16 SEC teams here on Southeastern 16.